Hi, and welcome to RDLA's April legislative meeting. I'm going to give a couple more minutes for advocates to log in and call into the conference call. So while we wait, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Rare Disease Legislative Advocates monthly calls. So we convene once a month in person or by phone to discuss legislation and developments that affect the rare disease community. These meetings, webinars, conference calls are essentially a clearinghouse for legislation, and participating in the calls does not imply support for any of the policy proposals or legislation discussed or promoted at the meetings. Now, hopefully, you'll come away with actionable items that you can call your legislators on or take action. So if you have questions about any of the pieces of legislation that are presented on, you can use the chat function or the question function, and we will send those questions along to the presenters, or we can answer them. So we're going to hold on a couple more minutes.
Hello?
Hello?
This is Carly McWilliams with Energy and Commerce.
Hey, Carly, we're just about to start. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. So right now I want to welcome everybody to RDLA's April legislative meeting. Today is April 22nd, 2015. Good afternoon to those of us on the East Coast, and good late morning to those on the West Coast, and a good day to all rare disease advocates across the country logging in and calling into this webinar. So thank you very much, and I will start the meeting. So on our agenda for today, we have Carly McWilliams from the prestigious Energy and Commerce Committee, who's going to talk about 21st century cures. After that, we're going to have Nancy Goodman from Kids First Cancer talk about the Kids Innovative Drugs Initiative. And then we'll have parent advocate Nicole Dreyer-Gavin from the National PKU Alliance talk about the Medical Foods Equity Act. After that, I'll be joined by my colleague Julia Jenkins from the Every Life Foundation. She's going to be talking about the Community Congress. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Carly McWilliams, the staff of the Energy and Commerce Committee, who's going to give us an update on the 21st Century Cures Initiative. Carly,
Hi.
take it away.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this call today. I really appreciate it. And so as of late, Cures is moving sort of very swiftly now after a year and a half of a lot of very good and hard bipartisan work of sort of we spent the beginning of last year trying to define the problems within the healthcare space, and then sort of this fall we've been putting pen to paper to figure out solutions in order to address these problems. We came out with the discussion draft in February, followed by we've been having some very productive and conversations with the administration and our Democratic counterparts, with the Pallone staff, the Ms. DeGette staff, and Mr. Green, who's the ranking member on the Health Subcommittee. And everyone's been working really well together to sort of tweak the draft and refine it to a very bipartisan product that we think can solve a lot of these issues and serves as a great starting point for the process. And we'll be doing some committee activity at the end of this month. We'll be having a legislative hearing, and then we'll be marking up the bill both at the subcommittee and full committee level in May, and with hopes to get this done and through the floor by Memorial Day or soon after in early June. So, but I just want to emphasize the perspective and focus. Fred has been very clear since the beginning that he really wants to make this about patients and figuring out how they can fit into this regulatory structure. And we've had a really great feedback from the patient advocates as well as our regulatory bodies and the FDA in particular in terms of how we need to fold that into their review process. So that I would just say that that has been sort of the cornerstone of this initiative thus far, and we've just been really energized by the bipartisan, or Fred likes to say nonpartisan nature of the initiative, and also just the sort of outpouring support that we've received from all sectors of the medical space, from patients to manufacturers to researchers. So it's been a very unique opportunity in a lot of ways, but we're really excited to for the next few weeks to unfold. We've been having a lot of hard work refining the draft. We've been having, 2 meetings a day, usually 2 hours each, with the Republican and Democratic staff, as well as technical assistance from the administration. So we are looking forward to putting the draft through the committee process. But I would like to sort of open up for a few questions if anyone has anything they would like to ask about the process.
Yeah, and if there are any advocates that have questions at any point during this meeting, you can use the chat function or the question and answer function, and I can send those questions directly to the speakers. I do have one question for you, Carly. I was wondering what the date of the next hearing on 21st Century Cures will be, and if advocates will be able to watch online.
Yes, I can't really see date, but it will be by the end of the month. And I can forward you the notice when it is released. And you can watch online, absolutely. And I can send you the information for that too, but it's all accessible from our website, and there is a live feed when the hearing is going on, but there will also be an archived video cast available on the website following the hearing. So you don't have to worry about watching it live.
Great, that's excellent, and that's really helpful for our advocates to be able to watch online and mobile. As I'm looking, okay, we have another question online right now. What should advocates be doing to support 21st Century Cures in the next month or so? What can we do to help, raise awareness of the initiative and, just really support the whole package?
That's a great and really important question, and I really appreciate it being asked. So we are trying really hard to promote this on social media and our website, and just sort of trying to help people understand why this is really important and sort of just let them know about the initiative. So we are using the hashtag Cures2015, and we have sort of a Twitter feed and Facebook page for specifically, I think Fred also has an Instagram account. So those are all being used. So anything you all can do to promote that would be extremely helpful. And I can send that information to you also after, so that it'll be easier for you all to refer to. But that's really important to us that you all are very involved, and I can't even express how important it is for each of your congressmen and congresswomen to know about the initiative and know that you're very supportive. It's an extremely, extremely powerful messaging tool for us.
Thanks, Carly. That was a great answer. We have another question on the line from Miriam O'Day. She wants to know if, or she has heard that telehealth will not be included in the next version or discussion draft. She thinks telehealth may be very important for rare disease patients to be able to access specialists. So, Carly, I was wondering if you had the specifics or know if telehealth will be included in the next draft.
I can't speak to that specifically at this point because we're still determining still determining what is in the draft. It's not been finalized yet, but it is a really important issue to us and a lot of our members. So I think that it's something that we are working to include, but it's helpful to know that it is important for specifically for the rare disease community. And I can pass that along to the staffer that's working on that issue because I work more in terms of the FDA space, but I would be happy to express your concerns and interest in the area.
Great, thank you for that. We have another question from Candace Lerman. She wants to know if if 21st Century Cures that'll be presented in the next few weeks will include the OPEN Act, HR 971.
That's another thing I can't really speak specifically to, but I do understand that was a bill that was also introduced by a member on our side, Mr. Belarakis, and I understand that that is something that is an important measure for the rare disease community, and I think we're trying to keep it in, but again, I can't speak to the specifics of what's in the bill right now.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Carly. Are there any other questions out online, or and I can forward them to Carly?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. This is Annie Ashe. I just wondered, of the bills that were introduced and discussed during the Rare Disease Week, there just was one that was actually passed, right? But it was passed last year, the Miller, I forgot the lady, Gabrielle Miller.
Gabriella Miller.
Yes, that was the only one that was passed so far.
Yeah, that was last year, and you know, it's just been enacted this year.
It was enacted.
None of the pieces of legislation that we advocated for during our lobby day have actually made it through their committees in Congress yet.
Is there one that's coming really close, or is that the Open Act? Or is there one that's really, really close?
Annie, that's what we're talking about right now. It's 20.
Okay, I just came in. Yeah, I just came in. Sorry.
It's okay. Okay. Carly, do you have any sense of when the next draft will be presented?
It will come out next week at some point.
Okay, great. That's good to know.
Early next week, yeah.
Okay. All right. As I see no more questions on the line, I want to thank Carly Williams from Energy and Commerce. It really means a lot to us that you came on this conference call webinar to answer our questions. It really makes us feel empowered and like our voices are being heard. So thank you so much, Carly.
Absolutely. Thank you for including me. I really appreciate it. And please let me know if I can be helpful.
Of course. And if any of you think of any questions that you want to ask Carly at any point, you can email us here at RDLA and we can help put you in touch or ask her your questions directly. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Next on our call, we have Nancy Goodman, from the Executive Director of Kids v. Cancer. Nancy, are you on the line? Okay, 1 second. We're going to get Nancy on the line real quick.
Hello.
Hello, Nancy, are you on the line?
Yes, I am on the line. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in today, Nancy. You can go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much for inviting me to speak. Before I speak, a small surveying question. Are there any folks on the line who represent pediatric cancer groups or groups that include children with pediatric cancer?
No, this is Frances Saldana, and I'm kind of new to your webinars, but I represent the Huntington's disease community. And I just want to make a note of the fact that there are so many children with juvenile Huntington's disease, and not enough stress or visibility has been given to that. All three of my children inherited juvenile Huntington's disease from their father. I've lost 2 daughters to Huntington's, and my son is at the last stages of Huntington's disease. So I just wanted to bring that up.
So Nancy, this is Juliet. Most of the people on our call are muted, so
I see. Excuse me.
It's okay. Our list did include a lot of pediatric cancer organizations. I can let you know that.
I asked actually because this is the second bill that Kids versus Cancer has worked on. The first was the Creating Hope Act, which addresses all children with rare and life-threatening diseases, including Huntington's disease. The second bill we're working on, I just wanted to clarify, is focused exclusively for children with pediatric cancer. And it is a bill to reform the Pediatric Research Equity Act and Best Pharmaceuticals for Children's Act so that the way that drug companies are obligated or not to undertake trials of children for other diseases also extends to cancer. And for a variety of historical reasons, that hasn't been the case until now. So I'll just spend a couple minutes on what the issue is and how we're resolving it, and then where we are politically. So again, the issue would be that while cancer drug development is, as you may all know, quite advanced relative to other rare diseases, in fact, pediatric cancer clinical research is quite delayed, 5 or 10 years delayed as compared to adult research. And when 95% of all drugs are abandoned on the adult side before FDA submission of an FDA approval package, those drugs go away forever, and there's no opportunity to test them in rare cancers, including children's cancers. So the Kids Innovative Drug Act, KIDS, seeks to address that. We hope we will be in 21st century cures, and if not, we hope we will be in PDUFA. And so we are working toward those goals. I'm going to keep my presentation quite short and maybe just ask questions because I don't have a sense of what sort of interest folks here have in this, more narrow legislative area. Unless Julia or Max, you'd sort of direct me to sort of provide more commentary. I think Carly's comments, of course, were of quite a bit of interest to all of us since Carly is on committee, and I didn't want to, take folks' time with this much narrower focus effort that we're undertaking here.
That's okay, Nancy. I think this is a great and very, very worthy undertaking the rare disease community could get behind. If there are questions about the bill, I've unmuted a large majority of you, so you can feel free to ask Nancy any questions about the Kids Innovative Drug Initiative.
Right. I just want to say one more thing, if I can. I know many of us on the call are from small organizations, mine as well. And I can tell you that, it's amazing how little money you actually need to get a law passed. We got the Creating Hope Act passed on $150,000 all in. So that is a lot of money, but, I think it goes to show that you don't need to hire a professional lobbyist to get things done if you work hard and you have a little bit of luck.
Great. Well, thank you. We do have a question on the line from Jenny. She asks, has Kids v. Cancer had any discussions with the FDA on this proposal? If so, what were their views?
FDA is very supportive and views reforms of PREA to extend it to pediatric cancer as a priority.
Okay, good. Is there a draft bill text available, or is there text available of the bill?
Yes, there is.
Is that available online?
The most recent draft is not online, and we will be putting that online soon.
All right. Well, whenever it's online, or is there a detailed summary or section summary?
Yes, there is.
And is that available online?
It's on our website.
Okay.
Hey, Nancy, could you just take a few minutes to kind of explain what the bill actually will do so that advocates that might understand what PREA is and how that...
Sure. So the PREA is the Pediatric Research Equity Act. Thank you, Julia, for that guidance. So what it says is that if a company is undertaking drug development for a particular disease, and there's a pediatric population that has that disease, that the drug company has certain requirements to study the drug for children with that disease. And in particular, the drug company must submit to the FDA what's called a pediatric study plan, which outlines the drug company's plans for undertaking pediatric preclinical, phase 1, 2, and even perhaps 3 research, so that the pediatric population can go on the label, meaning when the drug is approved, it's approved not only for adults but for children as well. And there are a couple exceptions to the Pediatric Research Equity Act that are relevant for children with cancer and perhaps with other people here in this community. One is that if the disease being studied is an orphan disease and has orphan designation, then the PREA requirements do not exist. So any drug that's developed for an orphan disease that has a pediatric and an adult population, in fact, the drug company is not obligated to study the drug in children. So it's interesting, as I'm talking to all of you, maybe that's something that we should consider as a community going forward. In addition, on the cancer side, the question is what is a disease, and how do you think about what group of children should be required to be studied? And in cancer space, it's by organ of origin. So, for example, if the drug company is developing a prostate cancer drug, then the company would be required under current law to study the drug in children with prostate cancer. Or if the company is developing a breast cancer drug, that company would be required to study the drug in children with breast cancer. As you all know, children don't get prostate and breast cancer very frequently. So, what is it we're asking for? Well, in fact, in the past few years, oncology drug development has changed significantly, and all oncology drug development is really now by molecular target. So, we know so much about genetics, and this is how drug companies identify, what drugs they want to develop, and then they determine what indications have that genetic target, which would make the drug potentially actionable for that disease. So given that they're now developing drugs by molecular target, why not develop them for children with that molecular target as well? And that's what we're asking Congress to consider.
Great. That was a very detailed summary and very helpful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nancy. Again, if you have any questions for Nancy or Kids v. Cancer about the Kids Innovative Drug Initiative, please use the chat function or the Q&A function, and I can ask that directly to her. So if you want to learn more about this proposal, you can go to kidsvcancer.org.
Yes.
More specifically, kidsvcancer.org/ the-kids-innovative-drugs-initiative /
Well, if you just go up to the menu phase, and we're actually putting stuff on every hour now these days. So, stay tuned. There'll be more tonight and more tomorrow morning.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining the call today.
Thank you so much.
Very appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Now we are going to move on to the Medical Foods Equity Act. With us today we have parent advocate Nicole Dreyer-Gavin from the National PKU Alliance. Nicole, how are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Great. You can take it away.
Okay. So first we'll talk about just briefly PKU and the treatment. PKU, the big long name, phenylketonuria. It's a rare inherited disorder that causes an amino acid called phenylalanine to build up in the body. So all food has protein in it. You need protein to survive. So it becomes an issue having enough nutrition and calories to thrive while having such a strict diet. The main treatment for PKU includes the lifetime diet with a very limited intake of protein. It can be as low as 4 grams of protein, which is about a slice of bread. All foods contain the phenylalanine. Our patients also take a PKU formula, which is a special nutritional supplement. Can be in powdered form that we mix or ready to drink. Sometimes it's in capsules. We also have low-protein, medically modified food. At this point, we're calling the medical foods. We're including the actual food items and the formulas as well. So that's the whole umbrella of medical foods. This really should be a huge rare disease success story. We've been screening for PKU for 50 years. NIH reaffirmed this treatment, Diet for Life, in 2012. So that's the easy part. No question about what the treatment is. Here's the hard part. Medical Foods Equity Act, the problems with accessing the treatment. Federal and state exchanges under the Affordable Care Act. If you get confused by this page, don't worry about it because it is confusing. That's our issue. The medical foods are covered in 38 states that have insurance mandates. It's state by state. The insurance exchanges will not provide any medical foods coverage in the following states: Alabama, District of Columbia, Georgia, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. With our mobile society these days, a lot of people move state to state. You may have coverage in one state, and you move out of state, and you don't. So it's really a big problem. I have a 4-year-old. Is he going to have to, how is he going to make these big decisions? He's going to have to make sure that he has coverage wherever he goes. So the state insurance mandates on the private insurers. Again, each state's law is different. Some include the formula, like we talked about, that we drink, and some includes the medically modified food. Some have age limits or dollar limits. Some mandates state insurance mandates apply only to the insurance regulated by the state. It doesn't include the ERISA plans or the self-funded or self-insured. This is huge. Rhode Island alone, the last number I heard, we have 1/3 of our insurance plans fall under ERISA, and they can really do what they want. The federal insurance programs, Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and TRICARE, those vary a little bit as well. The Medicare doesn't provide any coverage for the foods in general, and the others provide some. I learned that the TRICARE is the coverage for, say, our military families. And, you think, if we're going to take care of our military families, this should at least be, this needs to be a covered benefit. So go to the next page, the Medical Food Equity Act. It was a federal bill introduced in the last Congress by Congressman Delaney. They actually, NPKUA actually started with this bill in 2009, so it's been a while, and that's why I feel like I got in touch with Andy because I feel like it's, you know, we need a little more momentum behind this so we can try and get this done. So we're trying to get it reintroduced. Senator Casey's working on the Senate version of the bill. Medical Foods Equity Act would require all federal programs to cover this medical food and formula for PKU. Would be the federal employee programs. And the big hope with this is, of course, it would take care of the federal programs, but that once this is in place, it will encourage the private insurance companies to do the same so that we can cover everyone. Today I met a new Rhode Island patient. Her name's Cynthia. She's in her 60s. She wasn't diagnosed at birth because it was before the screening began. Her sister, who was a bit older, wasn't diagnosed and ended up institutionalized. Once they realized what it was, they began her on the diet, but the neurological damage was too extensive, and that's where she has lived out her life. Cynthia's protein tolerance was higher, but it was still a struggle. She lost a baby. There were a lot of big effects for the moms, for the women. So she recently, so that was years ago, and she did okay. Again, her tolerance is quite high, but her levels got so high recently that she was suffering from major problems and major depression. There are all kinds of effects. So she recently went back on diet, and I was just so fortunate to be able to speak with her today that she could share that story with me, just encouraging and energizing this for us. So the last slide is the contact info, National PKU Alliance. Tons of information on our website there. My email is there also. We're all parent, patient advocates. We're all very accessible and happy to talk with anyone if they want to get involved. There will be several of us from the National PKU Alliance lobbying in DC May 18th and 19th. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Nicole. That was very informative, and I'm sure a lot of advocates found out about the Medical Foods Equity Act for the first time today. So that's honestly step one. So this, if you have any questions about this bill, you can use the chat function. You can contact me or contact Nicole directly. Her email is up on the screen right now. And if you're in DC and want to participate in their lobby day, I would contact Nicole. That's May 18th and May 19th.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nicole, for being on the call today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to the Executive Director of the Every Life Foundation for Rare Diseases, Julia Jenkins, and she's going to give an update about the Every Life Foundation's Community Congress.
Hi, everyone. Won't take up much of your time today, but just wanted to go over with you a new initiative for the foundation is launching. Many of you are familiar that we're working on the Cure the Process campaign, and within that, the Open Act. But we also are launching a new initiative called Community Congress because we really wanted to be responsive to the community, listen to both industry and patient stakeholders about what the urgent policy needs that they are facing. So we're bringing together this Congress, and we are right now launching 3 working groups within the Congress: public policy, newborn screening, and regulatory science. Our goal is to convene those working groups over the next year, 3 to 4 webinar meetings per year, and including one in-person meeting in Washington, D.C. in November. But the way we want these working groups to work is that the working group will actually decide what is going to be the policy issue that they want to address. So going with the foundation's policy, we want to pick something that is doable, small, achievable, but also has a big impact. So working with the stakeholders in each working group will decide what topic will be considered and then how we'll best address that topic. So here you can kind of see the structure of the working group.
so these working groups, again, will have a co-chair from both patient group and from industry. Really the first way for industry and a formal way for industry and patient organizations to work together. Some of you have already heard about this. For those of you who aren't patient rep organizations, unfortunately this is not something that we can just have patients represented. We're really about patient organizations working with industry stakeholders. So, but again, we do have, invite academia and government organizations also to participate. So far we have a large group of patient organizations joining us for the Community Congress, and a handful of industry. Industry groups have to pay a fee, which is structured on how many participants they want in the working groups, and this is just to help us fund the initiatives. Obviously, to be successful in changing any policy, revenue is very important. So again, we're here to invite all of the community to join us in this initiative. There's no cost for patient organizations to attend. Our meeting schedule so far for public policy is going to be next week, Tuesday 28th. Newborn screening is going to be May 7th, and regulatory science will be on May 14th. Our in-person Community Congress meeting is conveniently held the day of the Rare Voice Awards Gala. It will be the morning of November 4th in Washington, D.C. You can find more information at rarecongress.org, or you can email Max, our Senior Director of Government Relations, at the email on the screen. So I can take any questions if you have. I do see a question about the newborn screening. The newborn screening initiative will be decided by the newborn screening members. So they haven't met yet. The first meeting is going to be on May 7th, and so that newborn screening group will decide. It might not be that they're looking for specific diseases. It might be that they're going to look for, doing a strategic plan to increase newborn screening or putting together a policy summit, or it may be that they try to do some, different state-level pilot programs at legislation. This, the point of this newborn screening working group is to work with stakeholders and decide as a group of what's the best strategic plan forward to increase newborn screening for rare diseases. Any other questions? I can see you. You can send them via chat. All right, so I think that is it. We are definitely getting through the call quickly today, so that's great. I'm going to turn it back over to Andy to talk about our next initiative.
Hi guys, it's Andy again from Rare Disease Legislative Advocates. I am really excited to announce our second annual in-district lobby days. Now, our first annual last summer was a hit. If you talk to anybody that got to meet with their legislator in their home district, the meetings went very well, and some deep relationships were forged and bonds were created at some of these meetings. So what in-district lobby days is when members of Congress return to their home districts to connect with constituents for summer recess. Now, this is going to be a pretty important one, too, as the election gets into swing. A lot of politicians are returning home to find out what constituents in their district care about. What are the issues that can get them votes and they can rally support around. So we think this is the perfect opportunity for rare disease advocates to meet with their members of Congress to build or strengthen relationships with, especially for those who don't get to go to Capitol Hill every year to advocate during Rare Disease Week. So registration will open in June, and then we'll start working on getting you the meetings. We'll have webinars on July 15th and August 5th that will help you prepare for your meetings. And then the meetings will take place during Congress's summer recess from August 3rd through September 4th. So you really only have to be available 1 or 2 days during that whole month to make this work, okay? So like I said, I'll send out those webinar invites, and We look forward to connecting you with your congressional representatives, because that's a big thing of what we try to do here at RDLA is help empower you guys and get your voices heard. All right. So in conjunction with our in-district lobby days, this is a pretty exciting development. We're going to have a couple regional legislative conferences. So this is before in-district lobby days start. RDLA is organizing 2 regional legislative conferences aimed at helping advocates prepare for the meetings with their legislators on rare disease issues. The first one will be held in New Jersey at Rutgers University on July 20th, and the second one will be held in California in San Francisco at the University of California, San Francisco Mission Bay campus. It's a brand new, beautiful hospital that they have in San Francisco, and that'll be on July 31st. So if you are in California and you can make it up to San Francisco on July 31st, we have a great event scheduled for you. Also, if you are in New Jersey on July 20th, you can come to these great events. If any of you have been to our legislative conference during Rare Disease Week, you know how great it is, and we can get, and all of these events are free. You can come, all you have to do is register. So look out for those invites, and for more information, you can go to rareadvocates.org. So the Rare Disease Congressional Caucus has a briefing coming up next month. It's going to be on the 21st Century Cures Initiative, and it's going to be titled Priorities for the Rare Disease Community. This will be on Thursday, March 21st, 2015. It'll be a lunch briefing, so lunch will be provided from 12:30 to 1:30. It will be in the Rayburn House office building in B318. Okay, and so as you can see on the screen, the agenda is right there. Carly McWilliams is going to be back. We'll have Kim McCleary from Faster Cures, and then Gus Borakis is going to be talking about open. Nord is going to be there talking about the patient perspective, and Leonard Lance will be there to talk about dormant therapies and modern cures. So that's going to be a great briefing in DC, in Rayburn, May 21st. If you're around, you should definitely come. Okay. And last but not least, here's the save the date for the Rare Voice Awards Gala. Make sure you are available November 4th, 2015. It will be taking place at Arena Stage in Washington, D.C., the same venue we had last year. And if you haven't been to the Rare Voice Awards, it is a gala designed at honoring people that have stood up for rare disease patients on Capitol Hill. So we look forward to seeing you at the Rare Voice Awards on November 4th. Okay, so our next RDLA meeting will be held on May 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully we will be able to talk about what's in 21st Century Cures. So the agenda is open, and if you want any items on the agenda, please email me at arussell@theeverylifefoundation.org. And you can email me for any questions about any legislation that has to do with rare diseases, or if you want that, or for any issues that you would like to see on the next RDLA meeting. With that, I'm going to open it up and unmute everybody. If you want to ask a question, feel free. Or if you want to ask a question via the chat function or the Q&A function, feel free as well. So now's the time if you have any issues that you would like to discuss or any questions for any of the people on the line, go ahead and ask them. I do want to thank everybody for logging on and dialing into this call. I think it was a great call today. I hope you guys learned a lot. Like I said, if you have any questions about any of the pieces of legislation, you can email me or any of the presenters. This call and webinar is also being recorded and will be available on rareadvocates.org, and that's under events and monthly meetings. You can also find the dates and the login info for the next meetings coming up. So with that, are there any questions on the line? Are there any questions on the line? All right. Well, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you guys next month. Have a great day.
Thank you for the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.